Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. We will start with Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय। जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, text number 32. Before that, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Canto 1, Chapter 8, text number 32. केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदोः प्रियस्यान्ववाये यदोः प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदोः प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदोः प्रियस्यान्ववाय मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदो प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदोः प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचिद् आहुर् अजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदहो प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं केचित् आहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदहो प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनं. Okay, word to word meaning. Kechit, someone. Ahuhu says. Ajam, the unborn. Jatam, being born. Punya shlokasya, of the great pious king. Kirtaye, for glorifying. Yadoho, the king Yadu, of King Yadu. Priyasya, of the deer. Anvavaye, in the family of. Malayasya, Malaya hills. Eva, as. Chandanam, sandalwood. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation is as follows. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Purport. Because the Lord's appearance in this material world is bewildering, there are different opinions about the birth of the unborn. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he takes his birth in the material world, although he is the Lord of all creations and he is unborn. So there cannot be any denial of the birth of the unborn, because he himself establishes the truth. But still, there are different opinions as to why he takes his birth. That is also declared in the Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency to re-establish the principles of religion and to protect the pious and to annihilate the impious. That is the mission of the appearance of the unborn. Still, it is said that the Lord is there to glorify the pious king Yudhishthir. Lord Sri Krishna certainly wanted to establish the kingdom of the Pandavas for the good of all in the world. When there is a pious king ruling over the world, the people are happy. When the ruler is impious, the people are unhappy. In the age of Kali, most cases the rulers are impious, and therefore the citizens are also continuously unhappy. But in the case of democracy, the impious citizens themselves elect their representative to rule over them, and therefore they cannot blame anyone for their unhappiness. Maharaj Nala was also celebrated as a great pious king, but he had no connection with Lord Krishna. Therefore, Maharaj Yudhishthir is meant here to be glorified by Lord Krishna. The Lord has already glorified King Yadu, having taken birth in his family. Although he is known as Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunandan, etc., he is always independent of such obligation. He is just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. Trees can grow anywhere and everywhere. Yet, because the sandalwood trees grow mostly in the area of the Malaya hills, the name sandalwood and the Malaya hills are interrelated. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Lord is ever unborn like the sun, and yet he appears as the sun rises on the eastern horizon. As the sun is never the sun of the eastern horizon, so the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guroho Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। Praying at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled Vaishnavas that please pray and bless me so that whatever comes out of this presentation, may that purify our heart and take us one step closer to the service of Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. Hare Krishna. So now we are in this chapter of prayers by Queen Kunti. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji Bhagavan ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So in this chapter, especially the verses that we are reading, the theme of these verses is that Mother Kunti is explaining or glorifying Krishna, saying that Krishna is unborn and how Krishna's activities are bewildering. One very important underlying theme that we can understand from these verses, from in fact all the verses of Queen Kunti, is that Queen Kunti actually has seen Krishna right when Krishna was a small child. It is described by our acharyas that when Damodar Leela took place, Queen Kunti was right there in Gokula to observe that Damodar Leela. And therefore, in the previous verse, Queen Kunti, in text number 31, Queen Kunti has in brief, Queen Kunti has described the entire Damodar Leela because she has seen that Leela by herself. So although Queen Kunti has seen Krishna right from Krishna's babyhood pastimes, and now it's been almost 80-90 years have passed after the Kurukshetra war. It is described when the Kurukshetra war happened, Krishna was 90 years old, and now when the Kurukshetra war is done, Queen Kunti, although she has seen Krishna, she is so familiar with Krishna, but still she has that respect, she has that honor for Krishna. She has not become too familiar with Krishna that she disrespects him. Now this is a very important aspect of bhakti that we all of us can understand, that sometimes we become so familiar with the process. We become so familiar with the devotees around us that we stop respecting and stop valuing the process of Krishna consciousness that is given to us. Like chanting the holy names, it is like a daily activity. So once we are in the process, once we are in the performing this process for 30 years, 40 years, sometimes it is seen that the process becomes very monotonous, and because it is so easily available, we think it is very easily available, and we become so familiar with the process of Krishna consciousness that we start taking the process for granted. And when we start taking Krishna consciousness for granted, that's when again the anarthas start developing in our heart, and finally there is no spiritual advancement. So Mother Kunti, in this chapter, she is teaching us through all these verses that although she has known Krishna right from his childhood, past times, but still Kunti is not becoming familiar with Krishna and disrespecting Krishna. Kunti is, throughout these verses, she is offering prayers to him, seeing him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is first point in today's class, that how we can protect ourselves from not becoming monotonous and still always valuing the process of Krishna consciousness. Also, in this verse, now let's go to the verse that we read. In this verse, Krishna is addressed as someone who is unborn. Now we know that Krishna has taken birth in Mathura, in the prison house of Vasudeva and Devaki. But therefore some people think that, especially the Mayavadis, they have this understanding that Krishna is an ordinary living entity. But there is a difference between Krishna's appearance and our birth. We take birth because we are forced by the laws of material nature. When man and woman unite, that's when they give rise, that's when they give birth to children. So therefore, our birth is different from Krishna's appearance. Krishna appeared when Devaki and Vasudeva prayed. Krishna appeared before them. First, Krishna appeared in the heart of Vasudeva Maharaj. Then, that same Krishna he appeared in the heart of Mother Devaki. And then finally, that same Krishna appeared as 400 Vishnu form in front of Mother Devaki. And on request of Devaki, that 400 Vishnu form, he transformed himself into a small little baby, Krishna. So that's how Krishna appeared in this world. He didn't appear by the union of male and female. He appeared by his own internal potency. That's how Krishna appears. But because we are stuck in this world from time immemorial, and because we take birth, we have taken millions of births, it is very difficult to understand how Krishna's appearance and our birth is different. Only devotees can understand. And therefore in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mudhoyam nabhi janati, that fools cannot understand me. Or Krishna says, fools deride me to be an ordinary living entity. Krishna appears in this world for our upliftment. we are stuck in this material world. We are stuck in this prison house. This material world is like a karagriha. This material world is the prison house where we are stuck. And Krishna comes in this material world to uplift us. Just like a president of the country or the prime minister of the country may sometimes go in the prison house. Now there are two categories of people who think why the prime minister is there in the prison house. First category of people, the first category of prisoners, they may think, oh, he has come to our prison house, our prison, which means, oh, he is just like us. He has committed some crime, therefore he has come to our prison house. He is just like us. That's the first category of people. Or the second category of prisoners are those prisoners who think, oh, the prime minister has come, therefore, and he is with us, therefore we are all like the prime minister because he is just associating with us. So the first category of people are the foolish people who think that, oh, God has appeared in this world, therefore he is just an ordinary human being. He just appears like us. And the second category of people are the Mayavadis who think that, oh, Krishna has appeared, but oh, we all can become like him. He is also, he appears just like under the influence of Maya, and therefore they are called as Mayavadis because they think that Krishna is under Maya. And they think that they can become God, they can become Krishna, and therefore they are called as Mayavadis. But we have to understand, Krishna clearly says in 4.6 of the Gita, Ajopi san avyayatma, Bhagavan Ishvaropi san. That Ajopi, Krishna says that I am unborn. I don't take birth in this material world. So that's the first point that Kunti is saying in this verse, that Ajaha, she uses the word, that Krishna is unborn. And why does Krishna appear? Krishna appears for the pleasure of his devotees, to glorify his devotees, like he glorified Mother Yashoda, like he did Devaki, glorified Devaki and Vasudev, like he's glorified the king Yadu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary, has given a very fantastic point. He says that actually there is an underlying theme going on in all these verses. Even in previous verse, if we see, where Kunti is glorifying Krishna, where Krishna was tied by Mother Yashoda in the Damodar Leela, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the underlying theme of these verses is that actually Kunti wants to stop Krishna from going to Dwarka, from Kurukshetra or Hastinapur. So therefore, just like Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with ropes indicating her love for Krishna, similarly now Devaki is praying, Kunti is praying that it's now our turn to bind you in Kurukshetra or Hastinapur. Just like Mother Devaki, Mother Yashoda bound you to the grinding mortar and you were stuck at one place. Similarly, Kunti Maharani, through these verses, she is praying that may Krishna, you please wait. Now it's our turn to bind you in our hearts. It's our turn to serve you. So please wait here stay back in Kurukshetra. So this is the mood of Queen Kunti offering prayers. And even in this verse, she is reminding Krishna of her relationship with the Yadus. She is describing that, oh, you appear to glorify, to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. So she is reminding, oh, And here Prabhupada, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, and even Prabhupada in the purport says, that here King Yadu also means Maharaj Yudhishthir. Now, Kunti says this because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, because she wants to remind Krishna that you are also related to Maharaj Yudhishthir. So please stay back. This is also your family. All the Kuru dynasty, all the Yadus, including Maharaj Yudhishthir and the Pandavas, Queen Kunti, even that is your family. Please stay back. With that mood, actually she is praying to the Supreme Lord. That is her mood. And in the purport, Prabhupada makes one point about King Nala. Now Nala was also very pious king. But because Nala was not connected to the Supreme Lord, Krishna mentions that, or Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Maharaj Yudhishthir is meant to be glorified here and not King Nala. So therefore, connection with Krishna is more important than just being pious. That we all know that famous example where all of our piety, whatever wealth we have, whatever fame we have, whatever we have in this world is all like the zeros, which has no value till the time we add that one behind all of those zeros. Now there are 10 zeros written on a paper. All of those zeros has no value. Till the time we add one behind all of those zeros, then that number has some value. Oh, front of all zeros, yes. In the front of all zeros, then that entire number has some value. So in this way, that one is Krishna in our lives. So till the time we are not connected to Krishna, we are not serving Krishna, no matter how pious we are, whatever piety, whatever materialistic opulence we have, all of us, we are going to live back in this world. The only treasure, the only gift that we will carry forward in our next life is our spiritual wealth. And therefore, devotees are greedy to collect that spiritual wealth. So therefore, Queen Kunti is praying like that you take birth to please King Yadu. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the same point, that paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna says that I appear millennium after millennium to protect the sadhus, kill the demons, and establish religious principles. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, from the previous verse number 31, I was just thinking about one point that I thought of making, where Krishna is describing, or Kunti is describing the Damodar Leela of Krishna in 1:8:31. I was thinking, I remembered one point, that how Krishna is subordinate, how Krishna accepts to become the subordinate to his dear devotees. Even in the Bhagavatam, Krishna says, Aham Bhakta Paradino, Yah Swatantra Iva Dvija, Sadhubhir Ghrastaridam Bhaktair Bhakta Jana Priyaha. That Aham Bhakta Paradino, that I am controlled by my devotees. And therefore, in text number 31, Queen Kunti is praying and describing in short the Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda is binding Krishna out of love for him. And although Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but because Mother Yashoda is a pure devotee, still Krishna allows Mother Yashoda to bind himself. And in that same mood, actually in this verse that we read today, in verse number 32, Queen Kunti is praying that now it's our turn to bind you and keep you and let you stay back with us in this world. In the beginning, we mentioned about one example, the analogy that she gives here at the end is, you appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. She says in this verse. So now Krishna can appear anywhere. Just like the sandalwood trees can appear anywhere. But because Malaya here refers to today's age Malaysia. Srila Prabhupada in his lecture, in his class, he mentions that Malaya is actually Malaysia in today's day and age. So 5,000 years ago in the land of Malaya Hills, or which is in today's day and age called as Malaysia, there was a large vegetation or large plantation of the sandalwood trees. And therefore Malaya came to be known as the Malaya Chandan. So the trees, the sandalwood trees can appear anywhere. But because in large quantity they appeared on Malaya Hills, the Malaya Hills came to be known by the name of sandalwood. Similarly, Krishna can appear anywhere, but Krishna appeared in the Yadu dynasty. Krishna appeared as Yadunath or Yadunandan. And therefore, the entire Yadu dynasty became glorious. That's what Kunti Maharani is saying here. Also, another example from sandalwood I remembered was, in the beginning of our discussion, we mentioned how we should not become familiar with the process of Krishna consciousness, and which is very visible through the prayers of Queen Kunti. Kunti, throughout her prayers, she is mentioning and glorifying Krishna. Although Krishna is related, she has a blood relations with Krishna, but still Kunti didn't get too familiar with him and starts committing offenses to him. And from this example, this sandalwood example, I am remembering another example in this connection, where Prabhupada says that a lady who goes to the forest and there are a lot of sandalwood trees. Now she considers those sandalwood trees to be, because they are in large number, all of those sandalwood trees, she considers to be just like ordinary trees, and cut that sandalwood trees and use that for cooking. Now this is what happens when we take this process of Krishna consciousness to be a very ordinary process. This process of bhakti is so rare. Krishna says we should always remember, whenever that thought comes to our mind that, oh, it is becoming very monotonous, and this process of bhakti is something that I want, at least the desire is to follow till the last breath of our lives. But there might come a point where we feel that it's it's just a routine activity. Therefore, but we should always feel ourselves to be very fortunate that we have got this process of bhakti in our lives. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yadadi siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschid mam meti tatvatah bahunam janmanam ante jnanaman mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna says that bahunam janmanam ante, after many births can one, bahunam janmanam ante jnanaman mam prapadyate, one can understand me. Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. That such soul who understands Vasudev, such soul is extremely rare. So when we understand that this process of Krishna consciousness is extremely rare, and we have been gifted this process by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, That's when we realign ourselves and understand the importance of it. If we think that if we are become too familiar with the process, we should not be like the woman who uses the precious sandalwood for cooking, for lighting a fire and cooking. We should not be like that woman. Prabhupada gives that example in another class. So, in this way, Queen Kunti is glorifying Krishna and praying for him in the mood to stay back and not leave for Dwarka. One last point for today that I wanted to share, that how I was reading Prabhupada's purport, and the point that Prabhupada is mentioning here, that Maharaj Yudhishthir is meant here to be glorified by Lord Krishna. This point is actually coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary that we mentioned here. So I was just thinking that how Srila Prabhupada is so surrendered to previous acharyas, and how whatever he writes, Prabhupada in the purport is in line with what previous acharyas have said. And therefore, Prabhupada's purports for us, for the devotees of ISKCON, Prabhupada's purports are more important than the translation. Because if there are many other publications of Bhagavad Gita or even Bhagavatam where there are only translation, but just by reading translations, we will not get the hidden meaning of what actually Krishna wants to say. Krishna wants to convey the message. But by Prabhupada's mercy, because he has painstakingly given us these Bhakti Vedanta purports, it has become very easy for us to understand the message of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's what I wanted to say. It's almost 8:23 now. So for the next maybe 7 minutes or so, if anyone wants to share any comments or improvements, corrections, please feel free to do so. Yes, Mataji. Yes, sure, Mataji.
First of all, thank you, Ajinkya, for the very nice class, very appropriate.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So it's kind of a comment and a question. I'm just wondering about your realization about Queen Kunti stopping or delaying Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna, from departing Hastinapur for Dwarka. Did you read that somewhere? Is there a realization that you got from one of our previous acharyas?
Yes, so this I heard in lecture that this commentary was actually given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In his Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this, that Queen Kunti wants to stop Krishna from, yeah.
Where and what part of his writings?
I believe, because I have not read it personally, I have just heard it in the lecture. So, but the name of the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is, I think, Digdarshani Tika, if I am not wrong. So I will just I will still confirm, but that's what I have heard. Yes, ma'am.
Question. And thank you also for that point. I'll try to do some research of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writings, and I'll try to look that up myself. So in another part of your lecture, you were mentioning taking Krishna consciousness for granted, like the woman who's burning the precious sandalwood for fuel, or to heat the home or whatever. The question I've got is, do you have any symptoms or ways for us to detect that overfamiliarity or taking the process for granted? Thank you.
So in my limited, so I personally don't have any realization, but in my limited understanding, if we feel like disrespecting devotees, or if we feel that um, while chanting the holy name, if we feel instead like if we are this, especially this point of taking Krishna consciousness for granted might come in someone's life after many years of bhakti, when it becomes a very routine activity. So now, after if we have spent so many years in bhakti, naturally the taste for the holy name should go up. But if the taste for the holy name is not going up, and we just feel that when I will be done with my 16 rounds of chanting, and there is no desire to chant more number of rounds, then that can be one symptom where actually we can introspect and see if I am falling short of appreciating this Krishna consciousness in my life. And also, during chanting the holy name, while we are chanting, if our mind, even at that stage, after many years of Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness, if our mind goes, if we get too much distracted from chanting, and we feel that our taste in chanting is going down, then that can be one small indication of becoming monotonous or becoming too familiar with bhakti. And what I have heard from senior devotees is that to avoid getting into that familiarity, what we can do is to always keep hearing about the glories of chanting the holy name, keep hearing about the glories of the process of devotional service, the process of bhakti, from pure devotees who are sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness. When we do that, then we can protect ourselves from becoming too familiar or becoming monotonous with this process. So that's what I can speak in my limited understanding. If anyone wants to add any comment to that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Do we have any comment or improvements, questions? Oh, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a nice class. It was very intriguing that you mentioned that Queen Kunti was present during the Leela, and that's why, Damodar Leela, and that's why she could mention. Again, it was very intriguing that she was there, so, and you were mentioning that Acharyas were there. So was she mentally there, or is there any more detail as to how she was there, like physically, some occasion and she was visiting, or?
Yeah, so yeah, she was physically there at that time. That's what the Acharyas say. So if we read more, I think we will get more details. But what I've heard in the classes is that she was physically present there. She was just visiting and seeing the pastimes of Krishna.
Her brother, Vasudev.
Vasudev, yes.
Because I think in the Mahabharata it mentions that the Pandavas met Krishna the first time later, right?
Yeah, so I think this was even before the Pandavas were born. I'm not sure about it, but I personally don't know the exact the timeline of events, like what happened. But Acharyas described that Kunti Maharani was present when Damodar Leela took place. That's the opinion of the Acharyas. So I was just trying to repeat it. But yes, that's actually a good point to research upon. Like when exactly did Queen Kunti went to Vrindavan, and when were Pandavas born, and when, like that sequence of events, that's actually good to research. Yes, thank you, Mother. Thank you for bringing up that point. Yes. Yes, so it's exactly 8:30. So maybe we can stop for today. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Please forgive me for all the mistakes that has been committed in the class, in the presentation. I'm still learning, so with all of your prayers and blessings, I may improve in my service over the time to come. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.